PyCharm is one of the most popular IDEs for Python development. There's a lot of great videos that describe how to set up and install PyCharm on your system, so in this video we'll dive into the top plugins for PyCharm that can turbocharge the default features. PyCharm makes it extremely easy to download and install plugins from their in-app marketplace. To get to the marketplace, all we need to do is go to the Settings/Preference tab in PyCharm. Now to open this on Windows, you can go to File and then click on Settings, and you should see the tab pop up. You can also hit Control, Alt, and S on your keyboard at the same time. Now if you're on Mac, that shortcut is going to be Apple, comma. From here, what we're going to do is locate the Plugins tab in the sidebar. If for some reason it doesn't pop up for you, simply type Plugins here and you should see it popping up on the sidebar. Now here you can see a list of pre-installed and recommended plugins from PyCharm. You may have already installed these when you installed your IDE, so through the rest of the video, what I'm going to do is show off the most useful plugins that you can have for PyCharm. The first plugin I want to talk about is called Kite. Now Kite is a free plugin that uses machine learning to provide better completions for your Python code. There's a few standout features of Kite that make it better than the default completions from PyCharm and what can be offered by some other plugins. Essentially, it provides you better completions more often. Since Kite's autocomplete is powered by advanced statistical models, it can incorporate relevance from your script and all the open source Python code on the internet to complete up to full lines of code. Now let's have a look with this example in this script here. So if I delete this line and I start typing P, we can see that Kite will recommend PLT as it knows to only provide relevant things from the modules that we've imported previously. So we'll do PLT, and if I go ahead and do PLT dot, we can see that plot will be the first thing to show up for us. So we'll double click on that, and it will even include for us what the parameters of this function should be. So as I click here, we can see that it's recommending my X and my Y as the two arguments to this function. Another cool feature of Kite is called CoPilot. Now when you download the Kite plugin, the Kite application is installed on your computer as well. This allows you to configure a few settings as well as acts as a companion window while you're coding. Now if we go ahead and click on the gear icon in this Kite window, we can see that we can change the settings for the theme to dark and light, and one of the most important settings I want you to notice is that we can set our CoPilot window to be our top level window. Now this is important because while you're typing, the CoPilot window will try to show you hundreds of thousands of lines of documentation based on the modules, methods, and functions you're using. And let me show you what I mean. You can see here it says the docs are following my cursor. So if I start clicking through a few different methods and a few different functions, you can see that the CoPilot window will respond to that and show me the documentation for that. Even if I start typing, for example, maybe the print function down here, and I move my cursor around, we can see that it's showing me the documentation for that specific module. Now this is a great plugin, and the easiest and fastest way to download it is from kite.com, and there is a link in the description. Now the next plugin I want to talk about is called string manipulation. Now to install this, we're going to go to the same plugins tab that we were at before. We're going to go to browse repositories and we're going to type string manipulation. Now you can see I already have this installed on my machine, but essentially what this plugin does is give you some tools to work with large pieces of text and of information. So let's do a quick example here on some text that I have. Simply highlighting and right-clicking the text, I can see the string manipulation tab pop up here with a little pencil icon, and I can use some tools like escaping, encoding, switching cases, incrementing and decrementing, and so forth. So one of the cooler ones is something called switch case. For example, I can make everything uppercase by doing that. I could even change from snake case to camel case and so forth. So let's try that, screaming snake case to camel case, and you can see we get something that looks like this. Now, if you want to bring some color into your day, one of the most popular plugins for PyCharm is called Rainbow Brackets. Now, it's one of only 4 plugins on the PyCharm marketplace that's rated 5 stars, and what it does is help you visualize deeply nested statements where you have a large series of brackets. It does this by simply coloring the brackets, and it's pretty straightforward. Here you can see in this script here that I have, I've just done a few sets of nested brackets, and you can see that it changes the colors and makes it easy to visualize which brackets go with which. Now, here in a more advanced script that actually has some proper code, you kind of can get an idea of what it looks like. Now, a lot of people contemplate the usefulness of this, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it in the comments down below. This next plugin is geared towards developers and those of you working in teams, and this is the Github plugin. Now, chances are you've already installed this when you installed your IDE, but if for some reason you can't find it, you can always install it from the plugins tab. Now, the Github plugin places commit, push, and even rollback buttons right on the toolbar, allowing teams on GitHub to rebase their local code without leaving the IDE. Developers can map keyboard shortcuts to each command, check to-do items before push, and see different comparisons in the commit pop-up window. Now I'll click on the commit window to show you what this looks like. You can see we have a list of a few files we can choose to commit or not, and we can look through the files and see things that we've changed and different to-do list items that we need to implement before committing. We can even change the commit message and then select commit or commit and push and do all of our changes directly from the IDE without having to go to GitHub or a command line window. If you use Django or Flask, you'll find grepConsole especially useful. The grepConsole plugin highlights console output based on simple regex search patterns, which makes it really easy to debug code and to find things in large logs. Let me show you a quick example so you get an idea what this is capable of. So you can see here I have a short script that simply generates some console output, prints some warnings, and once in a while raises an exception. Now if I run this script and we have a look at our console output here, we can see that the grepConsole will automatically highlight any items I'm specifically looking for, as well as any errors and show me any exceptions. Now here, if I want to open up the grepConsole settings, I can click on this little red icon that's up at the top here and scroll through here and change the colors and settings to what I'd like. You can see here I've added one as a pattern to search for, but I can also throw in some other regex patterns here. Maybe I could search for an item such as 2. And now when I highlight, we can see that all of the 2s are being highlighted in my console. Again, this is very useful when you're searching through large pieces of logs and output, as you can quickly highlight and find any piece of information that you need. These plugins that I've shown you are designed to help turbocharge your experience in PyCharm. Kite's AI autocomplete stands out as the most valuable plugin, and you can download it from the link in the description. Now to wrap up this video, we'd like to hear from you. Which plugin was your favorite and which do you think you're going to use the most? Let us know in the comments down below.